Make we do the right thing. Make we live good today for a better tomorrow. Talk it out. Don't fight it out. The time by the Ministry of National Security is
6:30.
Prominent clergyman Merrick Al Miller says it's time for an alternative to the established political forces, Jamaica Labour Party and the People's National Party. And that's why he's fronting the Jamaica First movement, which he says can transform the direction that the country is headed in only one term. He says, yes, there isn't a better time than now to find that alternative, to set it on its course for betterment, and that he's inviting able-minded and able-bodied people who want to see Jamaica achieve better to join the Jamaica First movement and move away from the traditional way that we have been doing our politics. He joins me this evening to make the case for the JFM, Jamaica First movement, in the direction that Al Miller says the country must go if we are to achieve our ambitions and our dreams. Let's start the show on Lead Story. Welcome to Lead Story on this Thursday here on CVM TV. So it is election season. We expect the date for the next general election to be called on Sunday, to be announced rather on Sunday at a mass rally the JLP is having in Halfway Tree. The PNP will gather in Crossroads nearby, just 2 miles down the road, for their mass rally on the same day in close proximity to each other. And that's the basis of what Al Miller says, the Reverend Al Miller, that look, mediocrity and the two established political powers and the wrong way of doing things. And you know, he doesn't want to use incendiary language. He wants to be even-toned and even-tempered. But he's saying that for where we are today, it means that we must break this bond with the two established political parties and find a new way. That new way, he says, the journey towards that new way through the darkness will be lit. The torch will be the Jamaica First movement, and he is one of the torch bearers for the JFM. And he joins me on Lead Story this evening to talk about this movement out of what he says is the perpetual darkness. Have I encapsulated it correctly, Reverend?
I think absolutely. So I couldn't do it better myself.
You could do it better, but you're just being kind. Welcome to Lead Story. How are you?
I'm doing very good. I must give God thanks. Its challenges are there, but we are there to overcome the challenges and deal with them. And I know this is why we're even able to talk today, because we're just facing the challenges and think we have to just confront them. The thought was in my mind the couple of weeks ago that where we are as a nation, it's really a time for bold, radical leadership if we are going to see anything different from what we have always had. And it's challenged me. And so this is why I'm doing what I have told myself I don't think I would ever have done. But the situation says, come on, it's now or never, and the situation demands it now. So we got to just step and give it the best shot.
You know, I have to put this up front because people will say, well, Reverend Miller, the rumors, and you know that there are rumors about everyone. Sure. The rumors over the years have been that Reverend Miller has been sympathetic to the JLP, even though he has opened his arms and his church to persons of all stripes and no stripe. So why would what they say a JLP sympathetic clergyman be launching a party outside of his main party?
Just to put a little perspective, yeah, not incorrect, but not as partisan in that way. I grew up actually, if what is sympathetic to the People's National Party. I introduced Mr. Manley on the platform a couple of times in my youth. You know, later on in the back end of the 70s, we kind of says, wrong direction. And so we kind of then more lean towards that alternative, but I've sought outside of that I think fairly balanced because absolute friends on both sides. And matter of fact, as you say in Jamaica, yeah, no much and no muchness, there betwixt the two.
That's
certainly
right.
Not now.
Yes.
Years ago, we
when
had
the ideological divide was stark.
Precisely. Since then, much and no muchness is just who deals better or feel is the best at a particular point in time.
Why is it? And I know that you're a man with friends on both sides. You would have many people's ear. But I think, Matthew, I think I should take the break before I put this question to you, because we want to know the motivation for the JFM, why these ideas couldn't find a place in one of the two established powers to take the idea to fruition. But Al Miller is best placed to answer that, and the goodly Reverend will speak for himself after this break. This is Lead Story.
Charge your electric vehicle with JPS. It's even more affordable than gas. Our Charge and Go network offers the fastest electric vehicle chargers, so you can power up in as little as 30 minutes. With over 39 charging points island-wide, you'll always find a convenient place to shop, eat, work, or relax while you recharge. The Charge Lab app and Charge and Go RFID card make it easy to pay and track your charge right from your phone. Start Charge. Learn more at jps.com/charge and go.
Hey everybody, I'm Yendi, and this is Odyssey with Yendi. In this space, we connect with some of your favorite people as they share their journeys. Here we have some unfiltered conversations as we deep dive into their inspirations, motivations, and experiences to inspire our own life journey.
Odyssey with Yendi. Brought to you by Grace, singer and island.
Politics time, and you know that over the years, over many decades now, he's been one of the most prominent clergymen in Jamaica, the Reverend Al Miller, head of the Fellowship Tabernacle in Portmore, St. Catherine. And he says, look, the time is right for an alternative to the established political powers that we have, namely Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, and the People's National Party. And he says the Jamaica First movement is what he's putting on the table for consideration, and more than that, for your support. Reverend Wright, why is it that the ideas that informed this Jamaica First movement couldn't fit into the plans and the vision of either of the established two?
I would never say couldn't, is whether or not it would be allowed. Unfortunately, I believe that the political culture we have developed with a winner-take-all and the one-upmanship has allowed us to get trapped in a mindset that anything that calls for our working together or uniting in the bigger interest of Jamaica kind of gets shoved under the carpet or shoved aside. And so hence, the system is not as open. And I believe that that is sad. And this is really why we are here today, because we're saying, come on, there is a better way. Let us allow values that which our founding fathers cried for. They laid this country on the basis of fundamental Christian values, righteousness, truth, and justice. And we say, come on, if that's what we believe, then it should run across everything and inform the way we do our politics.
Yes, but question for you. The way of politics and the demands of politics and the power that politics accords to man and woman, isn't that thing, Reverend Miller, so powerful as to change the mind and character of the best men and women?
Unfortunately, we have to say it often does, but that's not what ought to be. And this is what happens whenever self-interest drives what we do and not principles. If we are committed to principles, fundamental values, then we allow the values and a sense of purpose to drive activity. And so when you are purpose-driven, and the purpose should be bigger than you, the purpose should be embracing others, because love should be that driving force that informs life. So when we do that, we are able to rise above it and not let the system entrap us. But most people are not able to.
But here's why I asked that question as well, Reverend, and thank you for that answer. You say that this Jamaica First movement intends to use one term to change the course that you say the country is plotted on. The coordinates are locked in and we're on a certain path. You say the JFM needs one term. But the reason I ask the question is, the men and women that you are attracting to this movement, if they get in, isn't it true that the dye of politics will cause them to want to stay in power, to finish the work, continue the work, to hold on to this position of power? Are we back to square one again?
No, I can't deny that that's possible. But this is why we are being careful to state it from up front, so that the temptation of those who would commit to become part of it, if they go there, we have a basis to say, we committed to a principle and we must get the job done because of the purpose for which we raised up this, what we call a special purpose vehicle. When it has done its job, it must dissolve. And we are hoping that at the end of that 5 years, that we will have dealt with the fundamentals of the divisions in the nation, the lay fresh foundations, and a whole new paradigm, so that it gives the existing players an opportunity to either renew themselves, or it will create some new parties or people who are committed to those values for continuity.
Who are you appealing to join this Jamaica First movement, for it to have legs?
Wow. We are appealing certainly to legs on two sides. There are those who will provide leadership, because quality governance is vital to the process. So we're appealing to patriotic Jamaicans who have the ability and want to put Jamaica first, and say to them, come on, give 5 years of service to nation. That's really what we're saying. Whether you're in the system or outside the system, but commit to 5 years. And many outside the system don't want a long-term intervention or for their own lives, but we say give 5 years of your time to the country. So we want to invite such persons to come, even though a short time. We say, come on, man, let's turn this thing around. And the other grouping that we certainly want to appeal to is that 70% who have withdrawn from the system for the reasons most of us know.
Your calculations show you that 70% of eligible Jamaicans who are eligible to vote are not interested in the political process?
So it is 30% who have for the last number of years been engaging.
That's what your research shows.
That's what it shows. So 70% seem to be disengaged. We are saying, come on, disengagement is not a solution. And you're complaining of what you have, but the ability to do something about what you have rests in your hands, your vote. So therefore, come on, engage. But they say back to us, but we don't have anything to commit to, because what is there we don't like. That's why we felt compelled. Let's kill that monkey off our backs and provide a vehicle with the caliber of personnel and the kind of programming and the governance system that is able to create the new Jamaica.
Who is with you on this journey so far? Or is it that you have come out first hoping to attract the caliber of people that you want? How is it working?
The latter. But a little bit of the former there, because we have spoken to a few persons who we know have what it takes, and they are willing, if they see, providing, of course, that train is going to go and the people will go with them. So we do have some persons. But because the persons are not informed, what we are doing first is casting the vision and say, come help us, but come quick. You know, have a whole heap of time to make up your mind. Come forward.
So you want to get this ready for the election that's coming?
Absolute. Fully ready.
That's highly ambitious.
Tell me we're mad.
Yes, because, well, I wouldn't disrespect you and say you're mad, but you saw the look on my face. Let me take the break and come right back. This is Lead Story here on CVM TV, the Jamaica First movement, fronted by Al Miller. He's inviting you to join and to establish an alternative to the established political powers that have been running things since even before political independence.
Jamaica is paving the way to becoming a republic, or future or choice. The time by the Ministry of Legal and Constitutional Affairs is
6:45.
At Hawkeye, we work hard to develop state-of-the-art security solutions like our new Total Connect smart home automation system that gives you 24/7 access to control your appliances, lights, cameras, and doors using your smartphone, tablet, or PC. As the most trusted electronic security company in Jamaica, Hawkeye has the fastest response times to get to you when you need us most. Trust Hawkeye's Total Connect. Hawkeye, securing what matters most.
We want a piece for Jamaica. Yeah. Yo, what are you? We have to be.
Oh man, no, no, brother, no, man.
You don't see you ever play ref? No big game, no play.
Yeah, but a ball game. No, I said, place you come from, brother, I want to live good, man. I want to live good, brethren. No shake hand, I can play a little ball, brethren.
Really have to shake hand?
Yeah, man, and no badness, brethren. Just live good, man.
Come together as one and make the violence done.
Reverend Merrick Almiller has been part of our lives in some way or the other for decades, whether through sport, whether through the ministry and in other areas, lending his talents and his presence. And he says, look, it's time for the Jamaica First movement. And he's here to explain, well, he's explaining already the principle behind the establishment of this Jamaica First movement, what it intends to achieve and who he is inviting to join him on the movement. But Reverend, hear me on this now. We are days away from the announcement of the next general election. The two major political parties have 63 people in place across all 63 constituencies. So you'd need at least 32 sure winners. So you need 63 because you're not sure where you do. So you need 63 candidates. You need a party secretariat. You need funding. You need political organization on the ground. You need a whole architecture and an institution that the experienced ones recognize that they have to spend years, decades curating and pumping a lot of money into. How in God's name, literally, are you going to be able to do all of that and rustle up all of that together for nomination day?
Like you said, how in God's name?
Yes.
In God's name. Only in God's name. We are not ignorant that it is no easy task, but I think we have some things going for us. We certainly want to say that why we are out at this time and yet knowing the shortness of time is that we have put in place the framework. It's like all you got to do when you have everything set up, you just need to plug in the plug and the thing come on. So there is a framework that is already there. Part of it we didn't even develop. We want to speak of it more a little later because we don't want to confuse or put people out in front. But we have a machinery set up.
So if I ask for more in the framework, you wouldn't give it to me now?
We wouldn't give it to you now, but we would be prepared to do that in short order. But there's a framework there. There is the whole governance framework as well. There is the people that are there because, interestingly, it's depending on how much we can motivate that 70% to engage. Because in that 70% across this country, which community don't have a few churches? Just on the church standpoint. Precisely.
Does, yes.
So if the church decides to unite, because they are among the largest grouping, providing they're prepared to unite in the country's interests.
So I'm hearing, youth, even though you say you're not quite ready to go revealing your framework, am I hearing you say that faith-based organizations and persons who believe in a supreme, believe in a God,
correct,
you are leaning on them, and with them, half of your work is done, is what you're saying?
Absolute. It's to, can we motivate them and challenge them? And that's what we feel we have to do because they are part of that group. Another serious grouping who have disengaged are the millennials, the young people. And the young people are hungry for something, and they have the energy. If we, as we challenge them to say, come on, this is in your own best interest, it's for your future, your children, wake up and move. Some folks say, but isn't it too late? Is it ever too late to do what is right?
But you know more better than most, given your association with the Reggae Boys, historic qualification. People always say they qualified in 98, they qualified in 97, and the World Cup was in 98. You know very well that Jamaicans, like everybody else, loves winners. Yes. And Jamaican people are going to look at something. Yeah. If it looks like it's going to win, they'll support it. If it looks good, but it looks like it's going to lose, they're going to ignore it. At this stage, how you look relative to the JLP and PNP, you know that politics is a beauty contest. They'd put you beside the other two and say, Reverend Miller need to fill out some more. Aren't you afraid that they'd look at you and say you are less attractive than the established?
I understand. We're concerned, needless to say, you'd have to be if you're objective. But nonetheless, we believe the advantages outweigh the disadvantages. The fact people want hope, and what you want is to ensure that you have a framework that can work, a framework that will cause people to can believe in that framework. And so by next week, we're certainly going to be talking much more openly on what is there, you know, and to, like we say, continue to invite persons to say, come on, let us together, we can do it, because what we have, and with persons who want to step up, what I've been referring to, even some in the political process or outside the process, but have the heart for the nation to come forward, step up higher, give your country, put Jamaica first, and together we can make this thing happen overnight.
So I have to ask you though, an alternative party to the established two, not since the 40s have independent candidates made an impression on the elections in Jamaica, and even so, that wasn't a general election, those were legislative elections, okay? Since that time, independents have been toast. The last independent to win an election in Jamaica, a serious election, was in the local government election of maybe 2012, when Paul Patmore won the Lorimer's division in Trelawney after falling out with the JLP, and he ran as an independent and he won. So the independence record, poor. Yes. Bruce Golding, no other, the golden boy one time of Jamaican politics, left to form the NBM, not even one seat, and he had some big names with him on the roster. If they couldn't succeed, Reverend Miller, and I hate to be the one to ask you this question, but I have to as a journalist, if Bruce Golding couldn't cross it, how will Al Miller do it?
You know how I will cross it? I mean, like you use the cross it, you know. Moses took the children of Israel at the Red Sea, a total impossible situation by all means from every angle. But when God is in something and the people have a commitment to a cause, then impossibility becomes possibility. And we have had to look at the point you are making and know what has failed in the past, what hasn't worked. But if we take that attitude, you never do anything. That's why it's going to take bold leadership, it's going to take courage, it's going to take commitment, a will to a purpose. And what I'm certainly saying is, I believe we have 100 Jamaicans out there who think like me. We have 100 serious leaders in this country who want to see more. All I am praying for is that the courage, the strength of will be there and step forward, because the other things necessary are in place and will come if we can do that.
Among the well, you're a faith-based man, so you may differ, but for most people, the most critical things that need to be present, need to be available for this thing to happen in whichever way, is cash. Yes. Do you have the support of strength of cash?
Take cash to care.
Edward Philip George Siaga said so.
Yes.
Yes.
But my brother, there are some persons who we have been speaking with and who have committed that should we able, and I have to say should, because I have to be honest, should be able to pull together sufficient persons that they can see that these persons are leaders who can do it. They say, we got your back. And all you need, we will put it there because we want to see.
So access to capital is dependent on you attracting people of substance, to convince your financiers to open the purse strings.
And I would not deceive you or myself. If we can't show that in the next week or two, then
you have to wheel and come again.
We have to wheel and come
Let me ask you this before we go. Are you going to offer yourself as a candidate?
That's not my preference. And I'm saying that because I believe my role in our presentations was the issue of a council of elders in the city, elders of the nation, who should, using a coaching analogy, who would coach the team of players. My real role, ideally, is to lead that team of coaches, of good citizens who have the maturity, the experience, and then we will work with and coach a winning team so that to make Jamaica win. If, however, and I can say to you as my brother, that's not because I don't feel that's my grace, but if it becomes absolutely necessary, then I would have to go consider being a player coach. But that's not what I would rather do. I believe there are enough people who have the what it takes, the experience, the depth, that if they will be bold enough to put Jamaica first and patriotic enough to take that bold step, then therefore we just join with them and make the thing
As
happen.
you do the media rounds, Reverend Miller, what else are you doing more important than talking through the media to attract the kind of people that are needed to unlock the funding for this party to grow?
Because we have such a short time, we have to use all the media platforms. That's their social media, everything. So in the next...
But are you handpicking people and going to say, I want to have a meeting with you, a meeting with you?
There are a couple of people who we definitely are shortlisting to earmark if they would consider it, you know? And this is why we can't speak too much on that side, as you can understand, but definitely so, because you've got to do right now, not just what in fishing they say, not just net fishing, there has to be spear fishing. So we're definitely going to be aggressively doing that, and I'm thankful for the opportunity here that we are saying to such persons,